Dyslexics, here's how I calibrated my dyslexia so that I can read and understand the world around me. Hi, I'm Ryan. I have dyslexia and I use tools to calibrate my dyslexia, and all those tools can be found via my front playlist. I'm also part of this beautiful neurodivergent community. Make sure to click the follow button if you want to be a part of the conversation. Okay, so I never realized this, but mind mapping has been the tool that has worked for me the most. And I don't even do mind mapping anymore. So let me explain. So mind mapping essentially is you creating a neural network per se. You're networking concepts together and organizing information, and you visually see that. Your mind absorbs that by visual memory, because you are creating structure and you're also memorizing concepts. This is the same with concept maps. And I realized I used to do this when I was younger because it helped me understand things around me. Now, when I've done more research on dyslexia, I realized that there's parts of our brain that don't formulate neural networks, right? Because we don't really, dyslexia is a phonological processing disorder, so, there's certain areas of the brain that are not highlighted. And I'm saying disorder in this context because I just want to highlight the regions of the brains that are not highlighted. Now, we learn words, words are reinforced, and then we formulate these neural networks and we formulate our understandings of things. Whereas for us dyslexics, we use the right side of our brain and we utilize visual processing to be able to understand words and concepts around us. So, essentially, by creating mind maps and creating concept maps, you can visualize your neural network and memorize it. And that acts as your neural network, which is mind-blowing because I didn't realize that that's what I was doing. And then the more mind maps you create, the less mind maps you have to create. The whole thing is memorizing these mind maps and working with them, being hands-on with these mind maps. Because once you have that structure in your head, you don't need to go back to the structure. Right? So that's what happened to me. I started when I was, in my 20s doing mind maps. And then over time, I just grew away from the mind maps and I started reading better. Even though I still don't read well and my spelling is atrocious, a lot of my brain thrives off of mind maps and concept maps. And I remember even some of the stuff that I would learn back in the days about marketing and economics, I still remember those mind maps. So what I'm saying is that maybe, just maybe, get in the habit of creating mind maps and put graphics beside these mind maps. And just keep on taking language and breaking it down into mind maps until it becomes second nature to you, so that you can have your own version of a neural network. Now, like a visual neural network that you can always reference. I will say that there's a difference between mind maps and concept maps. Mind maps are organization of topics. So you have a central topic, and then you organize, the topic into subcategories. They're lists and sublists that are kind of broken out in a way that makes it more visual to the eye, but they're essentially lists, right? Bullet points and sub-bullet points. So it's good, but it's not as good as concept maps, because concept maps are, linking different concepts together. So you have a concept, you'll say bike, and then you'll have person. And then you have an action between those two concepts, and you say person rides bike. And that's more of a neural network because you are connecting different concepts together and finding relationships. And I can be lost in the sauce doing concept maps because just linking concepts together, it's like when you're like an FBI investigator and you're putting together a map of all the suspects and you're just tracking things to get a bigger picture of what's happening, what's going on, what this person said. You know, you're putting all these events together to have a story. You know, that's kind of what concept map does. But both of these things, in conjunction with, like both, a mind map, I would say, is a lower level version of a concept map. Concepts link concepts together, but if you were to click on that concept to understand the concept, you would see a mind map, and that would be an organization of all the thoughts. So, you know, I would just get in the habit of doing both. And the other tip I would say is write things down. Get in the habit of writing things down. I know it's tough for us to do so, but there's something about taking a pen, and writing things down. Getting your thoughts out, right? Because I think a lot of our frustration is the fact that we cannot communicate and that we can't get our thoughts out. You know, always find ways of being able to express yourself so you're not feeling stressed and you're not feeling, you know, like frustrated. You know, additionally, what I would say is make sure that you are managing your serotonin levels and your dopamine levels. You know, eat some chocolate, you know, like eat whatever, eat some cheese, whatever. Like, make sure that you're always calm, make sure you're getting enough sleep, make sure you're exercising, making sure that you're eating an anti-inflammatory diet. All of those things kind of help in, you know, just getting on with life, right? And mind mapping is a great way of, like, it's just a visual way for you to kind of link concepts together. You can, you know, use some mind mapping softwares. You can look it up on your phone, and you can, like, kind of carry your memories with you everywhere you go, right? You don't have to memorize it, but you will memorize it because, you know, when it comes to organizing things and putting things in order, our brains tend to remember that. Because the thing about mind mapping and the thing about concept mapping is that we are linking concepts together in an orderly fashion in what makes most sense. When we don't have a tool to aid us in this process, then it kind of, like, you know, our brains are always confused. Like with different, did he not say that? Did he say that? You know, where does this go? I wonder how this links up. I wonder if this goes there. Blah, 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 blah. You know, our brains are always trying to wonder, but when you have the mind map and you can kind of, you know, manipulate this mind map, whether it's a board, a physical board, or you're drawing, or, you know, use pencil, but, you know, if you're using a computer program, you're constantly moving concepts around until they make sense to you. You know, and things make sense. Things make sense. Like, things make sense. Things make sense when you find the sense, like when you find the truth. You know, there's always a time when you put the mind maps together and everything clicks. Sorry, someone's trying to call me here. I'll talk to you guys later. Love y'all, and we'll talk